Now let's start solving modeling problem of level 2. Now in this problem 2.1, we have front view, side view and enlarged view. Just go through that all dimensions. Make sure you utilize all of them to get the correct answer. So your volume must match with the given value, that is 5263. Okay, we'll begin in a front plane. So let's draw on front plane center rectangle. Width is 31. Length is 109. Now let's draw from here to here an arc. Let's provide the radius, which is 9. So to do that, we need center line. So let's draw horizontal and vertical center line. Okay, let's select the mirror. Right click, horizontal, right click. Again, select these two arcs and click on mirror entities. Select the vertical mirror line. Sorry, let's delete this and select this one. Now let's trim out the unwanted part. Please do not trim the diagonal line. Okay, now let's add radius of 3.75. Total there are 8 radii. Right click. Now let's extrude this part. Before that, let's draw a 2 circle whose inside diameter is 5. And let's make a line with the origin and add the distance of a center from the edge is 9. Now let's convert into construction circle because we will use later. So let's mirror this. Now let's extrude. Now extrude depth is 3. Now select this face. Here we are going to create a cut, right? So for that we need to offset the geometry. So select this and enter the distance all around is 1.5. So select this and reverse it and click OK. Now let's go over here and select extrude cut. If you look at the detail view, it is given that the cut is extended having given the relation from backside, that is 1.5. So here I will choose offset from surface, this one. So and I will add 1.5. So how do I know that? So let's cut this model. So here it is given. So from this thickness is 1.5. Now let's add those circles. So for that, let's make sketch visible. Now over here, I will create new sketch. This time I will convert the reference circles. And also the outer circle is given whose value is 8. So let's create a second circle. So let's first create a hole. So let's come over here and extrude cut. This time we will choose inner regions. Make sure it get through. Now let's hide the first sketch. Now let's extrude common region. Now if you look at very carefully, the extrusion is having some relations, right? So from on both sides we will use direction 1 and 2. So from 1 it is given as 0.75, and in direction 2, which has got reference, so offset from, so this surface, which is 2.25. Please be careful. Look at the detail view very carefully, how the dimensions are given. Based on that, I have selected the extrude end conditions. Now let's try to find the solutions. So go to evolute and find the mass property. So the answer is 5263.83. So it is exactly matching with the solution answer. So this is correct model. Now in practice problem 2.2, we have to create this model. So on a top view, we are going to create this geometry. I will extrude it. Then we'll offset this cut and mirror it on both sides, and then we'll drop this hole. So select top view. Now let's draw a circle whose diameter is given 9.5 and change the precision level to 2 unit. Now let's add one more circle whose diameter is 18. Now I will add the line from here like this. And let's create tangent arc. Now let's add the radius 2.5. And also let's make them tangent again. Now control this, select these two center, again make them horizontal. Now it is okay. So if you have any problem in these regions, make sure you do it correctly. You can go one by one. Just create this segment and give the dimension, give this segment, give the dimension, draw the line, create the arc, give the dimensions to this line and center line, and lastly you draw this arc. So as per the sketch, you should have this radii left side, and make sure it is tangent over here, and this line is tangent to this arc. Now let's trim this part. Now let's extrude. This time I have to choose midplane as given in the sketch. So total thickness is 11. Now on the top, I will open new sketch and I will convert the thickness offset this edges by 1 millimeter. Okay. Now go to feature and use the cut features. This time the thickness is 1 mm as given. Now let's mirror this feature. So select the top plane which is in middle and click on mirror. Now select the features to mirror. So use this design tree and mirror the features. Now let's measure the volume. So volume is 13011. So here answer is 1331. So if you calculate this and compare with the given answer, which is 1331 divided by this answer, you'll get 1.00, means it again the ratio is less than 1%. So the volume we found is correct. Now let's try to solve problem 2.3. This is sectional front view and this is top view. Make sure you use all the sketch dimensions and read the given value. Say for example here thickness all around is 3 mm. So here we have to use offset sketch by 3 mm and its depth is 3 mm. So on the top I'll begin the sketching. So the first sketch is circle whose diameter is 105. Now we'll offset the circle by 12 mm, but in reverse direction as given in the sketch. Now I will also draw circle on a right side whose diameter is, let's say, 23.3. Please be careful what is given. If you need, change the unit precision level to match with the what is given in modeling. So let's do the same thing again. Reverse the direction. Now let's offset these. Now let's offset by 12. So it is outside. So click OK. Now let's draw two center lines, vertical and horizontal. So we can mirror the geometry. Now let's add these lines. So let's mirror. Similarly, let's add the diameter dimensions. Here it is 175. Make sure circle is horizontal. Now let's mirror. I want to mirror this part. Now make sure you deselect these lines if you do selection by accident. Now let's extrude. So let's extrude the region. Here if you look at the sectional front view, the total depth which is given is 9 plus 3 means 12. So for this region, this region and this region, and also this region, not the mid plane but on one side, and let's click OK. Now let's reuse the same sketch and extrude this time this region and this region whose total depth is 25. Okay, let's edit this part. And again, let's edit. Okay. So this way we can correct the error over here in extrusion. Now let's reuse same sketch again. This time I will use center regions, but it is offset from surface from this and it is given as 38. Make sure you see the preview properly. For that you may need to check this reverse offset. So from this pink surface to this top surface is 38 as given in the sectional front view. Now let's click on this and create the sketch. Let's click on offset entities. Select this surface. Make sure you check the reverse so you can see the preview. Select this. Now click on again reverse and select this surface to create the sketch. Now let's click on extrude cut. So depth is 3 mm. So let's take section and see in a front view. So compare your sectional front view with the given one. So let's close that. Now let's add radius, which is 3 mm. So fillet 3 mm. You can also apply the fillet in sketch. Now let's measure the volume. So it is 325,627. So here it is 325,633. So let's measure the difference. So 325,633 is a given answer. And let's divide by the our answer. So it is 1.001. So if you convert into percentage, even it is less than the 1%. So our answer is correct. Now let's start solving the problem 2.4. Here first we are going to create this base shape and we'll extrude it, and again we'll offset it by 3 mm and extrude it. Then we'll add this top 3 cylinder by adding one and then patterning it. And lastly we are going to add these small holes and find the volume and compare with the given answer. So on a top plane, let's start sketching. So first we going to draw circle of 86 diameter. Now on the top, I will add one more circle of diameter 30. Now I will trim out the additional part. Now let's add fillet of 7 mm. Now let's also add circle having diameter 16. In the sketch it is given radius 16, but I think it is wrong. The way the dimension is given, it indicates it's a diameter. Now let's create a circular pattern. So click on circular pattern. So this is our reference point. And we need 3. So for this one, these 2 fillets, and right click. Now let's trim out additional part. Let's trim this. Now let's extrude. Now the thickness is 3. I will use region to select the outer shape and right click. Again on the top plane, I will open the sketch. I will offset and select the reverse options and add the 3 mm. Now let's extrude again by 3 mm. Now expand the first sketch and click on extrude This time I will use circles and their overall height is 18. Now let's add the small diameter which is centrally located over here. Now let's add the hole on this 3 cylinder. So for that I will start sketch on a back side. So here I will draw 2 circles and the first diameter is 6. So this is of 6 millimeter and other of 12 millimeter. Now let's extrude first the smaller diameter. Let's cut the small diameter. So here I will use the small one and I will go through all and click OK. Similarly, I will expand that and reuse the sketch. Again, this time I will clear this sketch selection and I will choose the outer circle. But if you look at the sketch given in PDF file, its extrude cut depth is ends 3 mm from the top surface. So here I have to choose offset from surface and I have to choose this one. So here I will to enter the 6 mm. So look at very carefully the end conditions. If you're not getting, click on reverse offset. Now let's click OK. Now let's create a pattern. So click on circular pattern. Now for direction, I will choose this edge. Now I want 3. Now for feature and faces, let's add features. So this one and this one. Make sure the preview is coming up properly and click OK. Now let's find the volume. So click on mass property or you can go evolute and click on the mass property. Here answer is 41586.06 while the given value is 42236. So it is within the 1% error. Let's solve practice problem 2.5. We'll begin with formation of this shape. Then we'll add this triangular shape. And we'll also add this inclined shape. And on the top, lastly, we are going to add this rectangle shape and along with this slot and circular hole. And lastly, we are going to put these 2 holes. So here it is located from this edge 20, but there is no center distance given. So we assume that this 20 millimeter is also applied to this hole from this right edge to get the answer. So on the right plane, I will begin sketch. So this is 41. This is 31. This is 7 as given in the sketch. Now let's take a dimensions away. So this 2 is equal. Now let's extrude by 78. Now let's add that incline part. So let's convert into entities. Now this is having angle of 25. So let's extrude it. Again, thickness is same. It's a 7 millimeter. Now let's add a rib over here. Now its dimensions are having dimensions, let's say from here to this edge it is 25. Let's look at normally and drag over here. Now go to feature and click on read. Now select on right side and the thickness is typically 7. Now let's add these two holes. Both are equal. Their diameter is 10. From this edge, center is located at 20. And from horizontally, it is located at 12. Here the center distance is not given, right? So it is freely moving. So let's lock it to make them horizontal. Now in the PDF file, center distance is also not given and any other reference distance is not given. So I assume this 20 millimeter for the second hole. So let's click over here and add the 20 millimeter. Because the hole diameter is same, so volume is not going to affect it by its position. So let's go and extrude cut. Now on the surface, I will open the sketch. Here I will draw rectangle. And from here to this edge, it is given as 45. Second, this edge is located from this at a distance of 10 typically. So I'll also assume that this edge is also located from here at a 10. So this way we fix the dimension of this rectangle. Now let's add the center part, a slot and hole. So go to slot, stretch slot and select like this and add it. Make this horizontal. Give the dimensions, that is radius is 4. And this is having 30. And this is located from here 20. And from here, from vertical it is 20. Now let's add circle over here whose diameter is 80. Now you can, if you wish, you can trim out the part, but I'll leave it as it is because I will go to the region and select the extrusions. So let's go to extrude. I will choose this region. Instead of extruding on upside, let's change the direction and I'll keep the thickness typically 7 as given in the PDF file. Now let's find the volume. So here sensor is not reading, let's rebuild it. Now here answer is not matching with the solution. So there has to be something wrong on a sketch side. So let's go one by one and check what is wrong. So this is our first feature. So if you notice, this is 41 okay, 7 okay, but this is not okay. It is 33. So let's make it 33. And let's rebuild and read the volume. So here it is 6289.5. The answer is 62810. So it is perfectly correct. So you can also read from this mass property. Now let's try problem 2.6. It's a single feature problem, but here the important thing is sketch itself, especially this 150 dimensions, which is measured from this sharp corner. Otherwise, rest of things are simple. Let's try to solve this problem. Okay, let's start sketching on front plane. So let's draw this line. Now let's add the dimensions. Before that, let's make sure these are tangent. So let's add smart dimensions. So this is 150. From here, from this to this, it is 47. From center to center, it is 52. And from here to here, overall it is given as 142. And the depth is 9. An angle between these two is 58. And this angle is 108. Now from here to here it is 150. Now let's try to add radius over here. So for that I will use a circle whose diameter is 64. And I'll make these two tangent. Now let's go to trim and check these options. Trim entities as construction geometry. So will this remove this? So this way we are able to maintain the reference dimensions from the sharp corners. Click OK. Let's go again and uncheck this and remove this part. Now let's add this 2-point vertical. So let's solve this underdefined situation. So select this line, press Ctrl and select this center and make them coincident. Now let's add the upper part. So here, first we need to draw a center line from here to here. Now let's add dimensions. From here to here it is given as 71. Same for the opposite side, which is 82. Now let's add a straight slot on this. So from here to here. Now let's add dimension to that slot. Radius is 7 and also the center distance is given as 55. Now let's add a circle over here whose diameter is 34. Now let's trim unwanted part and add the fillet. Select the trim, untick this. There is a disadvantage of straight slot function. When you trim it, it lost its all geometric relations. So how do we know? Like this. Okay. So let's make this tangent, parallel. This is also tangent. And also now let's remove the other part. Now let's add the fillet of radius 8. Now to fix this location, we have given dimension 41. So let's add from here to here, it is 41. Now let's extrude. Extrusion thickness is 8. Now let's measure the volume. So volume is 109,680.73. And in solution file it is 681. So it is completely correct. Now let's try problem 2.7, which is very simple. We're going to create in top and we'll apply the 9mm thickness. Then we'll add these two bracket. So on a top plane, let's begin the sketching. So here the radius is 20, so diameter is 40. So from here, let's add the lines. And let's add the dimensions over here, which is 86. Now let's trim this part. Now let's add the slot. Let's place slot. So this is 23 and radius is 7. So now let's extrude. So it is 9mm. Now let's create on a front the remaining one. So from here, and close the sketch. Now from here it is given 38. This is 17.5 because diameter is 35. Now let's add small circle having diameter 40. Shortcut key and extrude, reverse the direction, thickness is again as given 9mm. Now let's mirror, select this and control front plane and click on mirror. So that is shortest way to get the mirror feature and click OK. Now let's find the volume. So click on this mask property or you can go over evaluate and over here. But I have added by customizations, or let's expand the sensor over here because here it is reading 00. Let's rebuild it. Now the answer is 56490, but here it is 489.5. So it is perfectly correct. You can also click over here. So answer is 564895 and given answer is 490, which is almost same. Okay, let's try to solve problem 2.8. Here we'll draw the sketch in front, then we'll offset the inside sketch by 50mm. So select this and click on front. Now here it is 250. Three zero. Now let's offset by 15 millimeter. Instead of chain, let's select one by one. So let's extend. Now let's trim. Now let's add the fillet, which is 6 millimeter. Okay, now let's extrude. And the thickness is 12. Now let's measure the volume. So click on mass property. So volume is 118439. The answer is 118440. So it is almost 40. So the answer is correct. Now let's try problem 2.9. So here we'll use this to create the base plate, then we'll drop these holes and find the volume. Okay, on a front plane, I will draw the rectangle whose dimension is 28 and 26. Now let's draw a center line. Now let's add the circles whose diameter is 3. Now it is located from here to here, it is 5. It is 5. Same. Now radius is same. So select them and make them equal. So from here to here it is given 17. Make sure both are aligned horizontally. And now let's select them and click on mirror entities. This time I'll choose center line. Now let's draw larger circle having radius 7. Now they are aligned, so make sure they are vertical as well as horizontal. Now let's draw this. Now let's make sure center of these two is horizontal. Now let's add dimension between two circles. So press shift and select this circle and this circle and enter 3. Now you can trim the additional part. Click OK and let's extrude. No, it's not 12, it's 2. Now let's find the volume. So volume is 1288.34 and answer is 1273. Here answer is not matching. It is more than 1%. So something is wrong on sketching side. So let's try to explore that part and go through each dimensions. Here the radius is 12, not the diameter. So it has to be 24. Now let's exit and re-measure the volume. So again 172.49. So it is 1273 in the solution. So it is perfectly correct answer. Now let's solve practice problem 2.10. Here we'll draw circle over here, this second circle, outer circle, then this large circle, this one, and then we'll add this line and offset it and trim out it. While doing so, we need to take care of these angles 30 and 15. And lastly, we'll extrude by 7 millimeter. So let's start on front plane. Let's draw the first smaller circle whose diameter is 21. Similarly, with the same center, let's draw another circle of 36. In this case, the radius value is given. Now let's draw few more circles. So it is 128. Then one more, radius is 51, so it is 102 by diameter. Let's add right side circle whose diameter is 16. Outside diameter is 32. Now let's draw center line from here to here. And let's provide the distance, which is 85. Now let's draw one line like this. Add the center line to add the inclinations 30. Now let's offset by 13 this line. Now let's trim out the additional part because we do not require it. Let's trim this part and this part as well. Click OK. You need to use the trim tool before the entire sketch gets cluttered. So time to time you have to utilize it. Let's continue it. So prevent any issue later. Now let's add the rectangle, or simply let's draw the line. Same over here. Let's make them symmetric about horizontal center line. Now distance is given 18. Now let's trim out their ends. Also trim out this part. Let's trim out this one as well. Now let's add same thing on a bottom side. So here, from here to here it is like this. So again, let's use a construction geometry to add the angular dimensions. Now let's offset by 13. This is going on reverse directions. Now let's trim additional part. We do not require all of these. Now let's add the fillet in sketch. So first is 6. Click OK and save. Now let's extrude. Thickness is 7. Make sure that nothing is missed out. Now let's measure the volume. Here answer is 36748.29 and in PDF is the same answer. So it is correct. Now let's solve exercise 2.11, which is very simple. Draw the circle and draw these two rectangle and trim away additional part. and extrude one by one. So on the top, I will open the sketch. So circle diameter is 25. Inside circle diameter is 8. And let's draw center line. Make sure this is vertical. Again, let's offset it by 3. Right click and let's trim away additional part. Now let's give the dimensions. Overall dimensions is 20. Now let's mirror these two lines. And let's trim. This time I will choose this part. That is, keep the trim entities as construction geometry. So click OK and let's extrude. Thickness is 3 mm and click OK. Now let's expand and use same sketch again. This time I will use this region. Now the width depth is given 2 mm. So here I have to select the surface plane, that is from here. From here I need to add the thickness of 2. So here how the various end conditions and from condition of extrudes are useful. Now let's measure the volume. Here it is 1386 and the answer is 1387. So 0.64, if you take out these two round numbers, it becomes 87. So it is correct. Okay, let's try problem 2.12. Here you need to be very careful because some of the dimensions are not given here. So here it is written R typical. That means radius begin from here, which is tangent to this of 60 value, and its center coincident with this circle. And then again it is tangent to line, and this line is tangent to this bottom radii, which is 23. So this shape is little bit tricky. Second is this inside part, which having radius 18. And these two radiuses, so their center must be vertical. Otherwise, you're not able to get the answer given over here. So let's try to solve this problem. So start sketch on front plane. Let's first draw center line. Similarly, a horizontal center line. Now let's add dimensions between them, which is 40 typically given. Now let's add two circles whose diameter is 21. Sorry, it's okay, correct. So its diameter is 21. So let's mirror this circle. Now let's add the center point arc. Now radius is 23. Now let's offset that part by 11. Using this intersection point, let's add now radius is 60. Now let's drag and align to horizontal center line. Now let's add make sure this is tangent to the upper arc. Now let's add the center distance between these two circles, which is 65. Now let's add line over here, which is tangent to both the arc. Let's remove the additional part of arc. Let's make tangent the bottom arc. Now let's mirror the entities, these two. Right click, select the vertical line and right click. Now let's add is creating problem, so let's take it. Now let's add center point arc. So this is our center. So from here we'll start like this. Now its value is as given 15. Now let's offset the upper part of arc by 11. Now let's add the 3-point arc. Now let's trim this and make this tangent. Let's give the radius value, which is 18. Now let's trim out the additional part. So drag this. Now let's mirror. So click on mirror, this one, right click, select vertical and right click. Let's trim the additional part. Now let's offset by 11. Similarly, let's first finish this one and we'll mirror later. Obviously this is 11, so this is going to be 11 as well. That's why it's showing the error, over defined sketch. So let's say this offset distance, we accept it. So we need to make this line parallel to each other. Now let's add the radii, 3-point arc, 1, 2 and 3. Now let's trim additional part. Makes this arc tangent to both the joining entities. Now select this and this, make them vertical. Now let's mirror what we have created so far. Select this line, right click, vertical, right click. Now let's trim. So shape is almost ready. Now let's extrude. So thickness is 5. Now let's measure the volume. So it's a 2621.03 and the given answer is 26501. So this is within the range of 1% error. So our model is correct. Now let's try exercise 2.13. Here we only have hexagon shape and extrusion in one direction by 32. So on a top plane, I'll begin the sketch. Now here the diameter of circle is given 17. And make sure this is horizontal, and let's extrude by 32. And let's find the volume. So it is exactly matching with the given solution answer 8009. Now let's try practice problem 2.14. Again, we have to draw the hexagon and we have to extrude by 60 millimeter. And at the top, we have to add the cylinder having diameter 14 and height is 6. So select top plane. Now diameter is as given is 21. Now make this horizontal. Also add the circle having diameter 14. Let's extrude. Instead, I will choose this one, the outer hexagon region, and I will add 60. Again, I will expand this and reuse the sketch. But this time, instead I will use this circle. Here, I will select this surface and I will add the thickness of 6 mm. Now let's measure the volume. So it is through 23838.66 and solution answer is 23839, which is perfectly fine. Now let's try 2.15. Again, it's a very simple exercise. We'll draw the hexagon and then we'll extrude it. And then we'll add this cylindrical part, which is having diameter 14 and depth is 6. And again on the top, we'll add the additional part of hexagon shape. Now on top plane, I will open the sketch. Now I add the diameter, which is 21. Select this and make the horizontal. And let's draw the center diameter, which is 14. Let's extrude. And this is 61. Expand the boss extrude feature and reuse a sketch again. This time I will clear the selection. I will choose the circle. But from here I will choose this surface and the depth will be 6. Similarly, I will reuse the sketch again. Let's clear this and I will choose this hexagon shape. But here I will choose starting condition from here and the blind will be remain 6 mm as given in the detail view. So click OK. Now let's measure the volume. The answer is 26512 and it is same as given in solution. So our model is correct. Now let's solve problem 2.16. Just go through the dimension given in sketch. You need to extrude the base part first by 10 millimeter and then these two circles from the reference of the surface to by 10 millimeters. So let's open a sketch on the front. I will draw a slot first whose dimension is 12. Also two circles. Diameter of this circle is, radius is 18, so diameter is 36. Now we'll offset for the inside circle by 5. Now we'll draw a center line. Along with that, I'll also draw the bottom midline. Now let's add the diameter dimensions, which is 65. Now from here to here it is 45. Now let's coincident this and add the dimensions 45. Let's mirror these two circles along with this line. Now let's trim. Now let's add the 3-point arc. Now center of arc must coincident with the origin. Radius is 60. Now let's make sure center of this arc and slot and center are horizontal. Let's fix these locations so it won't move up and down. Let's make this vertical. Now let's add fillet over here. For that, let's draw the circle of diameter 10. Now select these two and make them tangent. Select these two, make them tangent. Now let's trim. Now let's repeat and try to mirror same part. And let's trim out. And also add the radius 5 over here, over here. Now let's extrude. And thickness is 10. Now expand same sketch and let's extrude again. This time we'll choose this region and we'll offset the starting condition, or you don't need to. Instead, let's change the offset from surface. So from here we need to add 10 millimeter. So let's reverse the offset and click OK. Now let's measure the volume. Here the volume is 5946 and the answer is 58074. Now let's try problem 2.17. It's a very simple object. Just draw this shape on front, drop this circle and the slot and extrude by given thickness. So on a front plane, start a new sketch and use the line command to draw a horizontal line. Again, The vertical line is of 33 and it is having like this shape. Now let's add from here to here 55. Let's add this angle here, it is 35, and from here to here, it in between this is 50 degree. Make sure these two ends are horizontal as given in the sketch. Now let's draw the two circles, one over here, second over here. Now let's add the diameter 12. Now they are all aligned. Now let's drop the slot over here. Let's add the dimensions. Radius is 4. Now here, these and these need to be horizontal. And this is 23. So from here to here it is 18. And from here to here it is 22. Now let's add radius cut. Now let's add lap cut. Now let's add diameter value to this circle, which is 10. Now we need to fix this movement. Look at the sketch very carefully. This center line of a slot is exactly in the aligned with the middle point. So select this midpoint and control select this line and make it coincident. Now shortcut key S and extrude by 5 mm. Now let's measure the mass. So it is 16206.21 and answer is 162.06. So it is completely correct. Now let's solve practice problem 2.18. On the top, we'll draw these two circles, this part and this sketch, and they will extrude by the given value. So let's create a new sketch on top plane. So this diameter is 45. Outside diameter is 65. This diameter radius is having 15. Let's draw like this. And let's make sure to add the horizontal center line. And also these two are horizontal. Now let's mirror this line, this line, this line, right click. Okay, now let's cut the additional part. Okay, now let's try to add the dimensions. Here to here it is 32. And from here to here it is 100. And from this to this it is 35. Now let's add the other part over here. This is 30. Let's make it symmetric. Select this line, center line and this, and make this symmetric. And from here to here it is 55. Let's trim this part. Let's add the fillet of 5. And exit. Let's add the extrude. I will use this, and whose depth is 40. Let's reuse same sketch to extrude this part and this region by 20. Again, let's reuse same sketch. This time it is 20. Or let's edit this and add together the region, this one, because both have a same depth. So instead creating separate feature, we have minimum features. Now let's measure the volume. Answer is 139,371 and in solution it is 372. So when you convert these two, again it becomes the 372. So this is completely correct answer. Now let's try practice problem 2.19. Here we'll draw the outer shape and we'll extrude using thin extrude options. We'll give the 10 millimeter thickness. And on the right we'll add this circular bracket shape. So open new sketch on front. This time I will use midpoint line and add the dimensions 135. Now let's draw the line. This is of 45. Let's align the center with the origin to make it symmetric. Now let's add radius 45. Now from here to here it is 100. Now let's make these two lines collinear. Let's extrude. This time I will use thin extrude and 10 millimeter thickness. It is going outside. We need to turn it inside. So let's change the directions. Because the thickness is given 10. Let's click OK. Sorry, I forget to add the over here the depth is 45. So on a double side, let's say on a total will be 90. Now let's open the sketch on this side. Let's convert into construction geometry. Now let's make this coincident. Radius is 18. From here to here is 65. Press S to access the shortcut menu. This time we need to use end condition up to next and click OK. Now let's measure the volume. The answer is 464748. So here it is 463671. So let's verify how much it is deviating from the given solution. So the given answer is 463671 divided by our answer So it is again 0.997. So it is within the 1% range. So the volume is correct. Now let's solve problem 2.20. So it's a very simple problem. We'll draw the hexagon, we'll offset it, and on this edge we are going to create this bracket, and then we'll mirror it. So let's start sketch on top plane. So click on hexagon tool, make sure it is horizontal, and add the distance between two edges 100. Now let's go to extrude. This time I will choose thin extrude. Now overall thickness is again extrude depth is 10 as well as the inside depth is also 10. So here we need to flip the directions. So it should go inside. Now let's add bracket over here. So select this face and open the sketch. Let's draw a center line. Let's create an arc and complete the geometry. Let's make these vertical lines symmetric. Now let's add the dimensions. So from here to here, center is located at 35. Diameter is 30. So radius is 15. Let's add this diameter having 12 value. Now let's extrude. Let's divide the directions. Now here, if you look at the sketch, its thickness is not given, but we assume that it is flush with the inside surface, right? Now to do that, we have either we can go to use blind option and enter the 10 millimeter thickness, or we can go to up to next options cut, or we can use up to surface options. But there is a problem. If I use the up to surface problem, cut extrude or બધું cut. Now here either I can add the 10 millimeter thickness, because in the sketch we can see these two surfaces are flush, they are aligned, so we can use 10 millimeter thickness. But either we can also use up to surface options. But the problem is, if I use this, when I mirror this, the same surface will be extended to match with the same reference. So it goes in wrong directions. So let's stick with this, the 10 millimeter thickness. Now let's try to mirror this. So select the right plane, press Ctrl, select the boss extrude feature and click on mirror and click OK. Now let's find the volume. Here volume is exactly matching with the given answer. So 50983.55. So it become, as per solution, it is 84. So it is completely correct. Now let's discuss what I explained in the end condition of boss extrude. So let's edit this. Instead of blind, if I use up to surface like over here and right click, so look at this, what happened. That end reference is also maintained for the mirror feature as well. So that mirror feature, again keeping the reference of same offset surface. So sometimes you need to be very careful when you mirror the feature. So let's go back and check the right options and click OK. Otherwise we will not have a proper model.